The Chosen's fourth season is almost about to begin, and there are a lot of interesting things to anticipate. With the help of Jonathan Rumy's highly acclaimed performance, the show has flourished in its contemporary depiction of the life of Jesus Christ during its first 3 seasons. Since its 2017 premiere, the show has drawn in fans beyond the Christian community, and when it debuted on Peacock in 2021, it was also available on Netflix and the CW. Viewership skyrocketed. Strongly recommended for standalone viewing, The Chosen offers a gripping modern interpretation of the Gospels. After earlier landmarks like the feeding of the 5,000, Season 4 premieres in 2024. The excitement for Season 4 is immense, particularly as the story revolves around Jesus' last crucial weeks. The Chosen keeps proving why it has connected with a broad audience while adhering to its religious roots, raising questions about how an avant-garde series will depict such a pivotal moment. Seasons 1 to 3 demonstrated that the hype was not unfounded. Season 4 appears to be set to captivate both religious and non-religious audiences with its innovative biblically inspired narrative. The distinct distribution strategy, in which each episode debuts only in theaters, is one of the most looked forward to features. In February 2024, The Chosen Season 4 will be released theatrically in 3 batches in theaters. Together, episodes 1 to 3 arrive on February 1st, while episodes 4 to 6 arrive on February 15th, 2 weeks later. The last 2 episodes of the season, which premiere in theaters on February 29, bring the season to a close little under 2 weeks later. This creative release strategy ought to produce a thrilling group viewing experience, in addition to perhaps drawing in new viewers who are fascinated by the spectacle of a streaming series receiving a significant theatrical run. The dramatic glimpse of Jonathan Rumy's Jesus in the first Season 4 teaser has already brought attention to the high level of cinematic production that The Chosen aspires to. After successfully entering into the general public's consciousness, despite having a specialized religious base, a theatrical run seems like the next logically ambitious step for the series, which is probably headed toward a climactic portrayal of the Passion. The 4th season of the show promises to be much more ambitious than the first, with a grander setting fit for this stage of Jesus Christ's life. One significant incident that The Chosen Season 4 might portray is the crucial miracle of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. There was a prominent shot of an empty tomb in the most current Season 4 trailer, which clearly suggests Lazarus' resurrection will be portrayed. This would be a good addition because in the Bible, Jesus' ill-fated journey to Jerusalem, which ends with his crucifixion and resurrection, is promptly preceded by the resurrection of Lazarus. The resurrection of Lazarus would indicate that The Chosen is about to take on the Passion story in a dramatic way. Character-wise, examining the emotional significance of Lazarus getting back together with his distraught sisters would make for compelling drama. The story of Lazarus rising from the grave and being whole could be interpreted as a symbolic representation of Jesus' future death and resurrection. The possibility of a whole Lazarus resurrection sequence looks to be one of the most significant improvements The Chosen might make to their consistent depiction of the Gospels, as it is a fundamental miracle with enormous personal and symbolic importance. The Chosen appears ready to portray John the Baptist's terrible end in the next 4th season, following a strong hint in the 3rd season. After publicly criticizing Herod, John the Baptist is still in prison and facing execution as Season 3 comes to an end. Based on this track, one of the most significant and terrible developments of Season 4 could occur soon, that is, the beheading of John in the upcoming season. After periods of John's doubting and strengthening faith, discussing the passing of the spiritual forerunner who baptized Jesus would be extremely emotional. His open martyrdom threatens to raise the stakes even further, even as his incarceration already increased the moral gravity. From a narrative perspective, it would make a great deal of structural sense to use John's sacrifice to launch Jesus' ministry. Furthermore, discussing the punishment John receives for standing up to authority would seem pertinent in light of current social justice movements. Comparable to Lazarus' resurrection, John's death could have significant character and thematic implications as The Chosen enters a crucial stage. Of all the highly charged likely occurrences in Season 4, the beheading of the show's complex and introspective John the Baptist is undoubtedly the most plausible. Season 4 of The Chosen is expected to cover some of the show's most depressing emotional ground ever, according to showrunner Dallas Jenkins. As the narrative draws nearer to Jesus' crucifixion, a pervasive sense of doom appears. Jenkins told Fox News that Jesus laments the fact that his bewildered disciples do not understand why he came despite his teachings, and that the weight of his heavenly mission is increasing. This route toward heartbreaking catastrophe is consistent with Season 4 stories, such as the death and resurrection of Lazarus, which includes the Bible's briefest but most poignant sentence, "Jesus wept." Jenkins affirms that Jesus' sobbing will recur throughout Season 4, highlighting the program's dedication to conveying spiritual suffering. We are drawing nearer and nearer to the arrival of our anticipated event. There will be severe suffering and sorrow in the upcoming seasons. In addition, there probably will be moments of inspiration and redemption, similar to how Lazarus triumphantly escapes the grip of death. Jenkins does, however, clarify that going through darkness is a necessary step on the path to resurrection. Season 4 will be a sea of grief, bewilderment, and tears due to mortals' slow comprehension of divine will. Season 4 will be a season of tragedy that will only provide glimpses of ultimate glory through the mourning of beloved Lazarus' passing and Jesus' constant weeping over the blindness of his followers. As Season 4 of The Chosen approaches, the program may soon depict one of the most horrific betrayals in Bible history: Judas turning Jesus over to his enemies. Judas completely abandons his dubious economic transactions early in Season 3 in order to fully follow Christ, confident that the Messiah will not suffer harm. However, Jenkins says that as known catastrophic events get closer, Season 4 will depict enemies closing in amid increased tension. Judas's early faith in Jesus has been established, and the chapter ends on a cliffhanger. But The Chosen has set the stage for a devastating betrayal that will completely upend his expectations. Jenkins' prediction of invading foes and mounting tension would be horribly fulfilled if it were shown that Judas was plotting with those who wanted Jesus dead after turning from darkness to light. Just as John's decapitation or Lazarus' death predicted the resurrection, Judas's treachery might lead to Jesus' ultimate offering, fulfilling necessity even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. In The Chosen, the final scene of Jesus' meekly tragic acceptance could be the most shocking and spiritually dangerous surprise yet, when Judas is shown leading armed guards toward Gethsemane in Season 4. Although Season 6 of The Chosen will see Jesus crucified and resurrected, Season 4 establishes the essential framework for portraying the Passion. Jenkins points out that since movies like The Passion of the Christ have already depicted the gory crucifixion, it is more powerful to graphically portray the spiritual suffering of Jesus' disciples via Deadline. The bewilderment and hopelessness of the disciples as Jesus accepts his fate are probably going to be a major theme of Season 4. Just as Jenkins warns of impending foes, narratives like as Judas's betrayal of the building and the killings of John and Lazarus have the power to erode confidence in Jesus' mission. While the dramatic conclusion may have to wait for later seasons, Season 4 can powerfully document growing anguish and doubt as the show draws to a close. When the crucifixion finally takes place, seeing the disciples' horrified expressions as their hopes are dashed might be horrifying. The gradual internal agony and root is depicted in The Chosen Season 4 prior to that pivotal time.